Welcome to Missouri Sports Talk. I'm your host, Cameron Staley, and today I'm here with
Doug Blaha.
Doug. Of course, we go to Blair Oaks together. I've got that pipeline still going. I'm running low on it, though.
Yeah. So, you're about done through all the athletes that at least are going off to college.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to get some 2024 guys from other schools during the summer that, like the St. Louis guys that couldn't quite get down like during the school year, because I know that's really tough. I'll try to get a few guys during the summer before everybody ships themselves off.
Yeah, that'll be exciting to see them because we don't get to see them a whole lot around here.
I agree. So I do want to mention before we start, I am probably going to start a TikTok. I got to do it.
It's the best way to get your platform out there quicker.
It is, and I post the same shorts and reels. I post them both on YouTube and Instagram. None of them are exclusive to either one, so why not post it on TikTok as well and try to get my name out there. So
help you grow quicker.
Yeah. So you're either gonna be the first or second TikTok interview. I may put some of Brady's out first and then get to yours.
That'll be exciting then.
So you're gonna help me introduce the TikTok.
I'm excited. It'll be fun.
All right. So also, we are introducing a new segment today. I feel like I've struggled to get to know the guys on a personal level for everybody, and I've asked a lot of sports questions. So today we are starting a segment called The Hot Seat. Now, I am going to probably do 60 seconds for this one. You are the test dummy here. We kind of talked about it. We were thinking 1 minute or 2 minutes, and we kind of decided that we'll try 60 seconds here. And I have 10 questions, so if you only get to like 4 or 5, then I'll probably do 2 minutes for everybody else. But today we'll do 60.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
When I press this button, I'm going to ask you the first question. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yep.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food would have to be chicken Alfredo.
Okay, what is your favorite Pop-Tart flavor?
I'm going to have to go with strawberry. There's a lot of good ones, but that one's the best, I think.
If you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Ooh, I'd probably have to go somewhere in Alaska because there's a lot of skiing stuff up there and a lot of hiking that I'd love to do.
What's your least favorite sport?
My least favorite sport, which is basketball, which is kind of contradicting with wrestling, so I got to go with that one.
What's your birthday?
April 1st.
Bucket list item?
I want to go skydiving. I've always wanted to.
What's your favorite restaurant?
My favorite restaurant, I'm going to have to go with Olive Garden because it matches with that chicken Alfredo really well.
What's your favorite hobby?
Just really being outside and hanging out with friends and pickleball.
Pickleball.
Yeah.
Okay. What about your favorite animal?
Ooh, I'm going to have to go with a lion because they're so, mean and tough.
All right, that was actually 56 seconds, and we got through 9 of them. I might as well just ask you the 10th one.
Yeah, why not?
What is your favorite video game?
Ooh, I don't play a whole lot of video games, but pretty much any one that I like playing with my friends. But I'd have to say Gang Beast. It's a real fun game. You pretty much grab them and throw them off the edge of a cliff, and so I'd have to say that's my favorite game.
I've watched a little bit of it, but I haven't actually gotten to play it. I may download it. All right, let's get to it then. We're going to start off with what sports did you play during high school?
Okay, so in high school I did football, wrestling, and also baseball, surprisingly, my freshman year.
So we'll talk about baseball first. Why did you play baseball for 1 year?
So it was my 8th grade year. COVID we had hit, and it was that summer, and I was bored. I'm like, I got to do something. I told my dad that, and the wrestling coach and our baseball coach are the same person. So my dad was like, here, let me give him a text, because I was like, I've played baseball before. I might as well try and do it again. And he's like, yeah, you can play. Just come out and do summer ball with us. And so I went and did summer ball with them and then proceeded to still do it in the spring. And wasn't that great at first. Was actually probably one of the worst on the team, in my opinion, especially at hitting. I was still scared of a ball after I broke my finger in 6th grade of it. But I felt over the year, I got a lot better, was hitting a lot better, and was getting on base. And so, and I just loved doing the sports.
What position did you play?
I played outfield because that was the least amount of positions we had at the moment. And it's probably the easiest position in baseball to kind of jump into without having a whole lot of knowledge on it.
I'd have to agree with that. So let's start with football because that's not what you're going to college for, all right? So when did you start football?
Tackle football, I started back in 4th grade, but I actually did 1 year of flag football before that. But
Okay.
that's the first I kind of ever heard about football or anything. But once I got into it, I went into it pretty good with the Junior Falcons program that we got out at Blaha Oaks. It's a really strong program. I mean, we're all out there about 4'3" or something, not real big at all, running around just hitting each other. I mean, and nobody really knows what they're doing. And so it's kind of fun just being with your friends out there.
So your freshman year, did you get any playing time?
I did not. So the closest playing time I had on varsity was about 6 steps onto the field. And then the time was going to run out, and so Coach Cook called me back off and was like, yeah, well, we tried to get you in, but it didn't work this time.
All right, how about sophomore year? That's when you stepped into a starting role, correct?
Yeah, sophomore year I probably wasn't ready for it because I didn't play a whole lot of JV my freshman year just because I wasn't very athletic. I was still trying to get comfortable with my body because I grew a half a foot over that summer, my 8th grade to freshman year, and so I was not comfortable. And so I didn't get a whole lot of playing time. I think I started 1 game on JV and then would go in at the end. And the only reason I started was because Cole Peters was sick. And so if he was never sick, I would never had that opportunity. But varsity, for my sophomore year, I kind of got thrown in there. It was like, okay, well, he's grown a bit. He's getting better. He listens. And so I think he's going to have to be our guy. That's what Coach Page had Coach Page and the other coaches had discussed and felt that was just the best decision, which was very good in the return of and because I got that full year of experience to better myself in football and better understand it. But, I mean, we were all so young going out there. Most of us were sophomores. I think 6 or 7 of us were sophomores going out there. Again, all seniors and juniors that had another 2 or 3 years on us, which just hurt us really bad because we were so little. I mean, we'll look back now. We'll look back at some of the film because you always do a lot of film for football, and so we look back at a week or two, and we're like, holy crap, we were little. Like, we didn't realize we were that small, and so we just realized how much we've grown since then, and it's done so well for us.
So how about your junior year? That was state championship year.
Junior year was probably one of the most fun years I've had of football, that and senior year. But junior year, we felt so good. We were ready to go. At the beginning of the summer, whenever we scrimmaged CBC, it was a little rough. We had some guys in wrong positions. Not necessarily horrible for them, just not good enough, or like not perfect for the team of how it would work out. But once we started going, there was no stopping us. Everybody was so in it. Everybody was working hard in the weight room in the off season. And once the summer hit, once actual football hit, we just went. We didn't stop. The gas didn't come off. There's no stopping us. I don't know if just about any team could stop us in the state at that point.
So how about senior year?
Senior year was a really fun one. It was like, okay, the last hurrah. And it was short now looking back at it, but it was really long too. Because it was a really big decision for me because I really did think about this, but of not playing football and just focusing on wrestling. But I'm like, I've done it so long. I got better last year. And I'm like, well, I'm just gonna keep getting better if I keep working hard at it. And I kept thinking about it. And I'm like, what would I gain if I didn't play football? I'm like, I wouldn't gain a whole lot. And so I'm like, well, I might as well go do something with my buddies that I've done since 4th grade and loved doing it. I still like to do it, but it was so much fun. And I'm like, yeah, I can't miss out another season of it. I wanted to be there with the guys and for them because it's a team sport. It's not an individual sport like wrestling. And I love that team aspect of it.
So it unfortunately came to an end in the Final Four against Central. They came to our house, came to the Nest, and they got it done. What was that game like?
That game was so crazy. It went from in that first half of us, they got up 2 or 3 scores, and it was like, okay, we're still here, we're fine. And then we would score and get real close, and it was just a race. It was a race the entire time, and I felt we really pushed it. We really pushed really hard in that second half of the game. That's where we really shined, and that's where we shine in all games. And it sucks to lose any game. It doesn't matter if it's a first round of districts or state championship. But just looking back at it, it was so much fun. The time I got to spend in with everybody and the memories that I've made with everybody, I don't know if I would change it. Like, yes, I would have loved to have that state championship, and that would have been awesome to play up at Faroe again and be the first to be back-to-back at Blair Oaks in the first 3 times. At Blair Oaks, it would have been awesome, but I feel as us going out now. I mean, we still had a crazy 4 years with 2 state championships, a semifinal appearance, and then that 1 year that we were young. But
yeah, freshman year. It's kind of funny because Blair Oaks is like, it's almost like our football team is allergic to odd years. Our state championships, we have 5. We have 2004, 2006, 2018, 2020, and 2022.
yeah,
So I think that's a little funny that none of them were able to go back to back, but there for a while, I guess the trend is still kind of going, every other year. I guess we'll see what happens in 2024, but, time will tell.
yeah, I want those guys to do well. I think they can do it too.
It's almost a completely new defense, and, that's really important. It kind of showed in that Final Four as well, if we want to go back to how it was this year.
Yeah, I think they'll be fine because, yes, it's a very new defense, but it's a defense that's been around the past 2 years' defense for a long time. And so they know what we've done and how to help us. And then there's a lot of old guys on this new crew. And they played a lot of JV. I think they let up 2 touchdowns last year, and that was it. I mean, that's even on a JV level, that's still crazy.
I believe, was it only one of the touchdowns or was it both touchdowns in the very last week?
I think it was something like that. It was like the last second little misplay on a corner or something. I think it was very late in their season, and it was just a fluke play.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they showed out everybody until the final week, and then I think it was Hallsville because I went to that game. I think it was Hallsville that ended up scoring on them.
Yeah, so that sounds about right.
So yeah, the JV was very, very good this year. Definitely, Blair Oaks is never ever going to be a bad football team.
Yeah.
I think everybody can understand that, but who knows the next time that they'll be able to hoist the state championship.
Yeah, I think they can do it this next year. It's going to be difficult for them just because their experience as a team is a little bit lower on the defense, but their offense has got so much experience with all the people with Hayden Lackman, Tyler Bax, Brady Dapkus, all those guys. Those 3 in the backfield is going to be that's going to be a fun thing to watch. It's not going to be fun for fans as a just a fan's perspective, but as like a football player, a football enthusiast that really knows how the game is played, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of running, a lot of hard hitting from that team.
We're going to see a lot of Tri-County blowouts.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's go to a little bit about Coach. How was it playing for Coach LePage?
Coach Page was fun. He was always looking for the best in you. It didn't matter who you were. He didn't care what you came from, nothing. Even if you came from bad background, real bad kid in middle school, he was still always looking for the best in you. I mean, he'd always be on you. He'd be yelling at you for something, but he was always meaning it in a good way.
All right, so let's transition football from wrestling. These will kind of go a little bit together. How about your credentials?
So my credentials for football, my junior year, I got second team Tri-County Conference. And then my senior year, I got first team Tri-County Conference. And then for wrestling, it was a duels. It was a team duel instead of individual for wrestling my freshman and sophomore year. And so my freshman year, I'm pretty sure we tied. But then our sophomore year, I'm pretty sure we won it again. But then my junior and senior year, I was both Tri-County Conference champs.
Okay.
And then I was also academic all-state for wrestling last year and this year.
Okay, so before we talk about everything on the mat, I want to ask you, who is your inspiration?
I'm going to have to go with my dad. He's pushed through so much, which a lot of people know around in the Wardsville community. Back in Junior Falcons, I think it was about 6th grade or 6th, I think. Everybody had Fight for Blaha on their helmet. And it was for my dad because he was in the hospital. He had big blood clot at one point, and then a few years later he had a disease that went through his entire body, and in a coma for a week, which really shot him down, and he really struggled for the next half a year after that of just getting back and walking again. But once he got back, he's done really well. He's doing really well now. Just has some physical injuries, which you wouldn't see in him because you wouldn't think he does a whole lot, but he does, and he's always there for me, always doing laundry, cooking. He's always doing something behind the doors that I can't see.
He's a really tough guy and a great community member.
Yeah.
We love you, Doug. So I want to ask you, when did you start wrestling?
So I started wrestling back in second grade. I was 8 years old. And then the reason I got into it is because my cousin, he wrestled, and we'd always go watch him at the Jeff City tournament. And then I was like, I kind of like this. And my dad wrestled in high school. And so he kind of was like, okay, yeah, I want you to get into this. And so he kind of liked it, and he knew the sport. And so I went to a practice and just kept going from there and loved it ever since. It's not even like practice to me anymore. It's like you have some of those days where you don't want to go to practice, but I don't have that for wrestling. I want to be there every day, even if it's the hardest practice of the year. I don't care. I want to be there.
So how were your earlier years of wrestling?
So I was okay. You're not expecting anything. You're just, especially at those ages, you're just looking to have fun. And actually, back in second grade, it was my first year, I got to wrestle Brady Kirpin after he'd been wrestling for 2 or 3 years before. And so I think I spent the entire time of that match on my back in a cradle. It was the only move he knew, and I only knew how to defend it whenever I was on my back. And so I think we spent 90% of the match in that position.
Okay, so how about your freshman and sophomore years?
Okay, so my freshman year, I was doing real good, won a wrestle off, and then we went to the back end of the season, and my rib dislocated up near my shoulder area. And so I wasn't feeling good. It would shoot pains down my neck. And then whenever I wrestled off again, I never was 100%. I ended up losing it. But the guy that went in, which was Brady, he did a real good job. He made it to a state bubble match. And then onto my sophomore year, I was wrestling really well. Probably the best I'd wrestled in a little while. And then I was wrestling. I cut a bunch of weight 2 days before to certify for the weight so that I wouldn't have to cut as much on the weekend. And so I did that, and then 2 days after, I broke my ankle in practice and wasn't able to wrestle in districts or state or anything. And so I only had like 12 matches or so that year. It wasn't a whole lot, which killed me. It hurt me like emotionally and physically especially, because I couldn't lift on my lower body anymore, which sucked because I liked my lower body better, doing squats and stuff more, but I just loved wrestling so much, and it killed me to end my season early without even almost starting it, in my opinion.
So junior year, you had a bit of a bounce back. You went 34-8, and you ended up getting 6th in state.
Yes, I did. I did a lot better in my sophomore and freshman year just from not being injured and stuff. In my junior year, I felt like I really wrestled pretty well. And I did really well, especially in the beginning of the season. I was undefeated for a little while until I wrestled some little bit better competition where I struggled a little bit and wasn't too happy with that. But I needed it to learn. And then I kept going and ended up doing a lot better by the end of the season.
And how was your first state wrestling appearance?
It was crazy. I kind of walked in. I was like, okay, this is pretty normal because I've been to a lot of different wrestling stuff in kids club state, stuff like that. But the biggest thing where it hit me and the biggest difference was that first match. I couldn't hear anything that first match. I was almost just trying to get through that first match. But once I got through it and once I got my mind right halfway through the match or so, I went in and I stuck the kid I wrestled and did what I was supposed to do.
So senior year was definitely your best year. You ended up going 47-4 with a 3rd place finish.
Yeah, I felt really good on my senior year. I really kind of changed my style of wrestling from my junior to senior year. I came more relaxed and just went out there having fun and doing what I do best.
So one thing I do want to touch on, of course, so we did have to take a bit of a golf break there because I let my microphone die on accident. I said in the previous one, of course, and I'll say it now, I really love your style of wrestling. you have a different style of wrestling than just about anybody else. I don't really see anybody that just takes somebody's ankle and drags them back to the middle of the mat and then comes up smiling after you pin them. So I really enjoy watching you wrestle.
Yeah, that starts back when second grade, whenever I started, just the love for the sport and always having fun whenever I do it. And at practice, I'm always having fun. And so if I'm having fun out on the mat during an actual match, I wrestle my best too.
So how was your senior year state wrestling appearance?
It was really good. I mean, I only lost one match, so I can't be too down on that. Yes, the one match was to get to the finals, but the kid won it, and it was an overtime match, and it was a well-fought match.
That was a very tough second-round match that you had, and for what it's worth, you ended up on a win to end your high school career, and you lost to the state champion. So I was really hoping that the second round of wrestlebacks, when you're wrestling that late night on day one, I had to leave because it was getting a little too late. And I was just really hoping, it was like, Dougie, don't make this your last match. I want to see your final match. And of course, you ended up rolling through the rest of the bracket.
Yeah, that match that you missed, it was a little rough one in that first period and a half. I wasn't wrestling very well. At one point, I was just sitting on the edge of the mat thinking, like, what am I doing? And so, but after that, about halfway through that second period, I flip switched and I just went and I pinned the kid in about 10 seconds after that.
So I want to ask you, what was your recruiting process like?
So Benedictine, their wrestling coach, he runs their Instagram and he had me on Instagram. And so I'm like, well, I'll add him back. Why not? I mean, maybe something will happen. Sent me a DM and was like, hey, we're really interested in you and the whole spiel. And so I gave him my number, did some stuff like that, and he kept calling me every so often, about once a month, and he'd always ask, how's football season go? Because he knew I was in football season. Once he got wrestling season around, how's wrestling season and grades and all that sort of stuff, always checking in on me. He was very much so there and almost like he was, like I'd talk to him every day almost.
So I wanted to ask you as well, what were your other offers besides Benedictine?
I had an offer from William Woods, MOBAP, and then I talked to a couple different colleges like CMU and a couple other ones out of state. I wasn't as interested in those ones just because of the fact that they didn't have my engineering program.
So I wanted to ask you as well, Easton and Witt are both going to William Woods, so was that kind of tough to pass up that opportunity to wrestle with them?
It was, but I'm always about a guy with new experiences, always trying to meet as many people as I can and getting new friends, always trying to do something else. I always like to push myself outside of my box so that it is easier to do that sort of stuff in the job career.
So I wanted to ask you, while you're at Benedictine, what are your goals for all the wrestling seasons? Do you want to be one of the top guys?
Yeah, I'd love to be one of the top guys starting at least 3 years, maybe, if 4, if possible. But I'd love to for sure at least get into that NAIA tournament, the national tournament for it. And if I can do that, I'll be real happy with myself and see where I compare that first year. Because I kind of know, but I don't really fully know how much I compare to those other guys up there.
So your final question for today, you did say that your major is engineering. So what exactly are you looking to go into as a career?
I'm either looking into an electrical engineer or mechanical engineer. I'm not really sure which one yet, just because I want to leave my options open and see which one I really like the best and I'll enjoy the best so that I can do that for the rest of my life and have fun doing it.
Well, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, anytime.
That's all we got for today. We'll see you all next time.